Hey, Court, I got a question for you.
What's up?
What would you do if, say, a man that was afraid of bats just decided to make everybody afraid of bats?
I'd say Batman Begins.
Batman Begins. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Project Infinite podcast, a podcast covering the entire multiverse of fandom, movies, comics, TV shows, video games. We got you covered. My name is Rob. I'm here with Courtney, as always. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Ready to talk about some Batman?
Yeah, this is going to be a Batman episode. Up top, I'm just going to let you guys know now. We're going to do a deep dive on the 2005 film Batman Begins, directed by Christopher Nolan. But first, the news.
Can I just say real quick, they should have just called that movie Get a Therapist.
We're going to talk about it.
We will.
We're going to talk about Batman and his various psychological problems. But headlines. So your guy, Denis Villeneuve.
This is awkward for me.
Yeah. Talk about this.
Yeah, so Denis Villeneuve recently said that Marvel movies are kind of just copies of each other. And this hurts. Hurts a little bit.
But, I mean, is he wrong?
He's not wrong. I think people also might have ran away with that statement, as they usually do, and just blown it out of proportion. And he's also trying to sell a movie on top of that, so...
That's true.
Yeah. My one thing with that, too, is Shang-Chi just saved the box office, so...
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, might want to hang on a second because that movie's success might actually dovetail into your movie succeeding.
True. Yeah, so, yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see if this bites him in the butt or if this helps or, this is an interesting one. You don't like to hear that be said. Do I understand what he's trying to say? Sure. Do I like what he said? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it, but at the same time, kind of mind your business.
Yeah. And it's funny because he was one of those filmmakers that I really I still look up to, that is just all about the art, all about cinema, all about that experience, and just to kind of stoop to the level of, and honestly, I didn't really see I just read his quote, I didn't see what the question was, and it could have, like I said, it could have been taken out of context, blown out of proportion, so yeah, it hurts a little bit.
Yeah, I just don't understand why it always seems like these certain directors are always maybe not going out of their way. Maybe they are probed, like you said, but
the popular kid director table.
Yeah, and you never see it the other way around.
Yeah,
you don't see James Gunn coming out and being like, "Ah, man, all of Scorsese's movies are all the same."
The Irishman was horrible. Why would you release it on Netflix? I don't think he ever said that. So.
No, they all have such great reverence for these other directors,
yeah.
And then these directors come around sometimes and they're like, these superhero movies are all the same. They come off as old curmudgeons. Mm-hmm. They're like, these kids these days, I don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah. Go watch Taxi Driver.
Yeah. And, yeah, I don't know. It annoys me sometimes that, the creative spectrum is so vast.
Yeah.
That, why are we stepping on each other's work?
It's just a lot of gatekeeping, too. And then...
That's what it is, gatekeeping.
And then people, and what the more dangerous thing is the fans either going to the side of Marvel, there's no middle ground, where I feel like we kind of stand of, I understand. It was kind of like Scorsese's comments about Marvel movies before. That one was one that was kind of taken out of context because he said we shouldn't sacrifice our Greta Gerwigs, our directors like that. But you can still go see a Marvel movie and still go see Lady Bird.
Yeah. That's the thing I don't get. It's like you said, it's gatekeeping, and then it gets in the hands of fans.
Yeah.
And even within the fandom itself, I feel like certain sects of DC fans are well, the DC movies are so much smarter than the Marvel movies.
Right.
And the Marvel fans are well, this, that, and the other thing. Our characters do this, that,
and we've had a franchise that's been running canonically in one linear path for the last 12
20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in brighter news, what if Marvel zombies were real?
What if Marvel zombies were real? So we've kind of talked about this before with What If, and we kind of talked about it after the Captain Carter episode dropped. We were like, are we maybe going to see some of this stuff in live action? And turns out, maybe.
Yeah.
Mark Millar came out recently and was like, you didn't hear this from me, but maybe Marvel zombies in real life.
Yeah, he saw Kevin Feige's sniper, and he said, you didn't hear it from me, but...
You didn't hear it from me, but I'm putting this out on the internet.
Yeah.
So that you definitely heard it from me. But what do you think about this?
I mean, just off of seeing What If, especially as soon as we saw that Doctor Strange episode, that evil Doctor Strange, I said the possibilities are kind of endless. That's exactly how I felt. I felt really good about the possibility that we can see a darker version of Doctor Strange. And I said to you, even after episode 1, I was like, I'm pretty sure that Haley Atwell is going to come back to play Captain Carter in live action at some point. I just feel like that's too easy of a T for them to just not swing. And we have, what else do we have? We have zombies, we have Captain Carter.
What if Hank Pym?
Oh yeah, what if Hank Pym was his comic book version of Hank Pym? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there's all these different realms that you can kind of dive into, and getting it into live action not only just helps it, just these cool concepts, it also helps the connective tissue from What If, and it's probably going to help people go back and watch What If for the full fleshed out stories of their individual episodes as well.
And kind of going back to what we talked about earlier about everything seeming samey, like if you bring some of these What If stories that have been really outlandish and really wacky and bring them to live action, you're getting something totally different.
You are, yeah.
Which I think would be cool. Like, if they can pull it off with doing a live action Marvel Zombies, then I'm for it. If they want to do it like a, Day of the Dead kind of, or Dawn of the Dead kind of deal, like you focus on like a particular group of heroes, and to the point where you're not handcuffed by the MCU continuity.
Man, next year for Halloween, do Marvel Zombies, whatever. Just have like a cool Halloween episode with a bunch of zombies running around and some of the actors that are willing to, maybe some of your smaller characters in the MCU coming back, and just kind of how it was in the What If episode too. It was a lot of the smaller heroes. We even had Kurt from Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp in there. So Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, David Dalshamain. Or Dalshamain. I don't know how to say his last name. It doesn't matter.
He was also in Batman. He was in The Dark Knight.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
But no, I agree with you. If they can do this kind of Walking Dead style movie or TV show, maybe, where you focus on like a group of characters, like I really loved the Spider-Man stuff.
Oh my gosh, so good. So
it may have been some of the best Spider-Man stuff that we've gotten.
Yeah, first time we heard Uncle Ben in the entire MCU, and he's been in like 5 movies.
Yeah.
Shout out What If. But what if Tom Hardy wore a hat?
Instead of a mask. Finally, he's wearing something on top of his head instead of on his face.
I know, but nobody cared about who he was until he put on the hat.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So, guys,
the Spider-Man thing is out of control.
Yeah, this Spider-Man kind of...
It's becoming like the Zapruder film of Marvel movies.
Yeah. Oh, man.
What does this mean?
Yeah, everybody's kind of has... What do you feel about that Andrew Garfield video? I know we kind of talked about it last week, but I don't think I asked you how you felt about it.
Okay, so...
Is it real?
So that's the thing, right? So people are like, look at this footage, and they were like, no, it's deep faked. But then like someone came out and said that the deep fake was faked on purpose.
That's what kind of Inception Spider-Man stuff is this?
This is crazy.
This is nuts. all this for a Spider-Man movie.
Like we're turning this into like the JFK assassination. Like, was there a guy in the grassy knoll or not? Was Andrew Garfield on set or not? We don't know.
Was he the one that murdered Kennedy?
No, that was Magneto.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Shout out the X-Men films. But to clarify, Tom Hardy was seen wearing a Spider-Man No Way Home hat, and the promos for the last couple... So, first things first, Shang-Chi came out, and Venom's like, oh, you didn't think we were going to release on October 1st? Joke's on you, everybody.
You're Marvel. We're Marvel.
Yeah.
We're expecting same box office numbers as Shang-Chi.
Whoa.
They're like, calm down.
Yeah, we'll see. We're going to deep dive into Venom. We're going to have a Venom preview. Not next... Is it next week?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it is next week.
Next week's the 28th, and then Venom's out on the 1st.
Oh, God. Okay, so... Spoiler warning, I don't like the first Venom movie. And usually I'm very forgiving on a lot of stuff. And you know what? I just think I'm being a bit too pretentious because I always look at it as the wasted potential because you have Michelle Williams and Riz Ahmed in that movie and you just wasted both of them. But that's beside the point. Still a fun little movie that I don't care about.
It's so fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
I love the first Venom movie.
Yeah, Tom Hardy is just amazing as Venom. What a great casting.
But... So yeah, back to this hat thing. What?
Yeah. Tom Hardy wore a hat and somebody hit the zoom and enhance from the Mission Impossible movies and it said No Way Home on it. And like I said with the promos, I think the last promo for the Venom movie said, "Get ready for the universe to expand." And I said, why would you guys do that? You're just going to send everybody into a frenzy. Was this the plan all along, was to use the Spider-Man No Way Home hype to just sell Venom?
Yeah, of course. Sony's like, oh, yeah, we're capitalizing on this.
Yeah.
I'm surprised one of the Venom promos is like, maybe Spider-Man will be in this.
Yeah. But it's not, you heard the rumor that it's going to be Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, that's the universe is set in?
Leave Andrew Garfield alone.
Yeah, he's had a tough couple of months.
This guy's just out here trying to promote other movies that he's in.
Yeah.
And people are like, but are you in Spider-Man? And he's like, no. And they're like, you're a liar, Andrew Garfield.
What if
like,
I am?
What?
Yeah. I am in the movie. You're a liar. What am I can't win. Yeah. Sorry, Andrew.
Yeah. Week 2 of me petitioning, please.
Yeah.
Leave Andrew Garfield alone.
I love how Toby's just been sitting in parks in New York.
Yeah.
Getting people just all riled up.
Attacked a camera guy that one time. And people were like, nah, we're staying away from him.
But there were cars in the way. He couldn't see. All right. So, yeah, Tom Hardy wears a hat. Big news. Other side of the spectrum from Marvel over to DC. It was Batman Day the other day.
It was.
Yeah.
And that's why we're talking about the thing that we're going to talk about later.
True. And there's a Batman movie coming out.
Yep.
The Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Flash movie is definitely just a sequel to Batman 89, whether you want to believe it or not.
I don't know what's going on with this movie.
Yeah, that movie's, I heard Supergirl's, but it's Henry Cavill's daughter, possibly, from a different future. And Michael Keaton said, well, I was already in Spider-Man Homecoming, might as well do another one.
I love Michael Keaton's attitude about this whole thing. He's like, hey, man, I don't understand it, but people like it, so I'm for it. I'm in.
We need more people like Michael Keaton.
Yeah. Less snobs.
Yeah, I think I heard Colin Cowherd say one time, like, he's one of, like, the only people in Hollywood that's not too, like, big for his own good. Like, he's just, like, a normal, like, guy that's just, like, an all-around just good person, so.
Yeah.
Good on you, Michael
Keaton. I like Michael Keaton. I like his attitude.
Cool guy.
But, yeah. So, The Flash is in a Batman movie now?
Question mark. But that's beside the point. Getting back to the actual Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, which I can't wait for. There was a promo of him holding a grappling hook in the grappling gun, and the internet lost it. And I am the internet. I lost it.
Yeah, nerd needs to relax.
Yeah, just expose me online, calling me.
It's just a picture.
But then Michael Giacchino also released a little bit more music for that movie. And then
Did you guys not know he was going to have a grappling hook in this?
It's a surprise every time. It's amazing. We're going to talk about some grappling hooks later.
Hell yeah, we're going to talk about some grappling hooks. We're going to talk about a good old-fashioned yoink.
Yeah, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite app, Tumblr.
It's like the 4th week you brought up Tumblr.
Is this?
Something like that, yeah.
Not my fault. It's just an unfortunate series of events. But yeah, we got a nice little look. We got some more music from this movie. This movie hopefully will be amazing. Just everything behind the scenes just looks like a 10 out of 10. And trailer coming soon.
Probably.
25 days, DC Fandom coming up.
Yeah.
So we got another DC Fandom. And Matt Reeves said, well, if I got to drop a trailer, might as well do it at DC Fandom. And yeah, that one's... The first DC Fandom was a nice surprise. I luckily had a Saturday off from work, and I just was at home, and it was all day. It started at like 9 in the morning, and it went till like 9 at night. Like, it was amazing. But it was cool because I would just look down at random points and like, is that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just having a Black Adam panel? And I was like, what? And then it was just some cool comic stuff, movies, games, big time games for DC Fandom. So maybe we get a first look at Gotham Knights when that comes out.
Yeah, probably look at the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League game.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, Rocksteady's making it, so
true. Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun.
Yep. So, more DC. So, somebody made a good Suicide Squad movie, but then somebody made a Suicide Squad movie before that. Your favorite director, David Ayer.
Oh my god, this guy. Jeez. So, I just happened upon it on Twitter, because Twitter has an algorithm now where it's like, hey, you like these things, here's some things from these things. And I'm like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
But one of David Ayer's tweets popped up, and it was in response to somebody who was commenting on still images from, I guess, his Suicide Squad movie of Jared Leto's Joker, everybody's favorite Joker, Jared Leto.
Oh, God.
He's got like a gun up to his head, and then there's another one where he's in a goat mask and wearing robes, and it's real weird. And the comment was like, "Oh, still sucks. Like Joker still sucks." And David Ayer was like, "Yeah, I agree. I'm sad that you guys never got to see my vision of it. They're making fun of your vision."
Yeah,
David
I was
Ayer.
gonna say, isn't that the Joker that you shot? Even though it wasn't the full one, isn't this the? You may not have cut the Joker movie featuring the Suicide Squad, but you definitely were a part of it.
You filmed it.
Yeah, it's not like a Zack Snyder situation where he left. You were there.
You
were there.
filmed that lunatic for 6.5 hours or however long.
And used only 8 minutes of footage. Not your fault, maybe. Question mark.
Look, I don't have a ton of faith in the higher-ups at Warner Brothers, but to cut 6 hours of a character out of a movie and look at like 8 minutes of it and be like, yeah, we can use this.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
not great.
No, it doesn't speak very highly of the performance.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty vindicated in the Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Whoa. You don't like the Joker in Justice League?
It's the worst part of that movie when he props up at the end.
Some people think that's one of the best parts of that movie.
I'm sure there are people that think that.
The Snyder Cut.
It's the same people asking for this Ayer Cut of
Restore the Snyderverse.
It's not happening.
Even Zack Snyder's like, we'll see.
We're not doing another Suicide Squad, especially after the last one was really, really great.
Yeah.
It's
Let
over.
James Gunn make the Justice League now.
It's over, David Ayer. We have the high ground. Okay?
Are we reverting from Fast and Furious references to Star Wars references by week?
No, but we are due for a Star Wars thing soon.
Yeah, we are.
We almost did a Star Wars thing today.
Yeah.
But it's for another day.
I think last but very not least, Macbeth.
Oh, man, you thought we were going to talk Shakespeare on this podcast?
Yeah.
Let me flex my English lit degree for a second.
Oh, yeah, you do have an English lit degree. I write stuff from time to time for screenplays, and you have an English lit degree.
I had a whole college class on Shakespeare. 400 level. So
in any of these classes was Denzel Washington Macbeth?
No, but we did watch the Much Ado About Nothing movie in that class one day that he was in.
Did you watch the Shakespeare movie with Leonardo DiCaprio?
No.
Oh, you should have. Beside the point, A24, every young film kid, including myself's favorite production company because thanks, man. They promote art to the end of the day. My favorite film and the film that probably means the most for me, Moonlight, came from this production company. I mean, you kind of think about Uncut Gems came from this, Lady Bird, like all these recent, I want to say since before this, but I feel like 2016 and beyond has been like A24's like just their playground, Hereditary, like all these great movies. And they said, let's get Denzel Washington to play Macbeth. And I said, excuse me? What do you mean Denzel Washington's going to play Macbeth? And it's the greatest choice. And
Going back to his roots, though, he is a stage guy.
Yeah, he is. And it's funny because they also said, you want Lady Macbeth? Here's Frances McDormand. Just two of the heaviest hitters in Hollywood at the time.
Got a Coen brother?
They got one of the Coen brothers, Joel Coen. I was watching, I don't know if you've ever seen Inside Llewyn Davis. Really great film that the Coens did. I was just watching that the other day, and it just makes me happy that Joel's back by himself, funny enough. No Ethan this time, so just Joel Coen.
This is a real Mario without Luigi situation.
Yeah, this is a real one Russo brother without the other Russo brother. So it looks phenomenal. Shot in black and white. Definitely used digital cameras for this. Looks super clean. I mean, it was just such like a dark and like kind of just dreary, not dirty, but like it's kind of like how I use the term dirty for Denis Villeneuve, kind of how it's like these pretty images in such these like dark and disgusting worlds.
Right. But I mean, Macbeth is a very dreary story.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys aren't up on your Shakespeare plays, Macbeth is Shakespeare is dark by nature. His tragedies are obviously famous for a reason. But, I mean, even Romeo and Juliet has its kind of high marks. Even Othello has a little bit of heroic kind of stuff going on in the beginning. Macbeth from like the outset is very dreary. It's set in Scotland. Yeah. Where, I mean, I don't know if you guys ever been to Scotland, but it rains all the time there.
Yeah, such a beautifully rendered trailer. I think Joel Coen's onto something truly special, and this is coming out on Apple TV Plus, and very cool place for this to come out, because it's not like we're just, obviously it's going to be released in theaters. I'm pretty sure this is going to debut at a film festival later this year. I'm almost certain I can't remember which one it is, but this has got a lot. It was like a 45-second trailer.
It's not much.
Yeah, and immediately I was hooked. As soon as you see that, this is like, that trailer is basically me and you. It's like the English lit, versus the guy that loves A24 films all put together.
Yeah, this movie was made for us.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the greatest cinema experiences for the both of us.
And I'm not even that big a fan of Shakespeare, but I do love Macbeth. I think that's one of the greatest stories ever told.
Have you ever seen I think it was 2014, I'm definitely wrong, but it was the Macbeth movie with Michael Fassbender. Mm-hmm. Not bad.
No, because that's a really captivating story at its core.
Shot extremely well. The same person that shot The King, which when we get around to Dune later in October, we're going to talk about that, because in our preview to Dune, I'm going to talk about The King with Timothée Chalamet, which is basically his audition to play Paul Atreides in Dune. But beside the point, this Macbeth trailer, if you haven't seen it, it's short, sweet, and definitely something a little bit different that we're going to get later this year.
The Shakespeare Renaissance.
Yeah, Shakespeare Renaissance.
Shakespeare is back.
Yeah, he is back. All right. Well, I think that's all we got for news, and I think we better begin our main segment of the podcast.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little different than anything we've done up to this point on the show. We definitely wanted to do something like this since like the show's inception. We wanted to kind of take a film.
I see what you did there. Show's inception.
I didn't even do that on purpose. But yeah, we wanted to kind of take a film, and since Batman Day just passed, we were like, we're just going to deep dive on Batman Begins, because we discussed maybe doing the Nolan trilogy, but I think there's enough meat on the bone of all three of these movies to kind of deep dive into. So that's what we're going to do. So spoilers if you haven't seen this movie that came out 16 years ago.
16 years, jeez.
I just aged myself.
Yeah. How old were you when this movie came out?
I was 13 or 14, depending on the exact release date of Batman Begins, which, don't know what the actual release date was. I'm going to look. June 15th.
June 15th.
It was 2 weeks before my 14th birthday.
So, Rob, you're a young middle school kid about to go into high school. I'm presuming you're liking some of the superhero content and not liking some of the superhero content that we're getting. So, how did you feel when this movie came out?
I feel like because I was so young, I was kind of on board with pretty much everything that came out.
Right.
So, like, this is mid Spider-Man trilogy, Raimi trilogy.
Almost to the end.
Yep. So we're before Spider-Man 3. We are in the crux of the X-Men franchise.
Yep.
We are in the crux of the Daredevil cinematic universe.
They tried.
With Elektra coming out the same year.
Yeah.
As this.
We're at close to the inception of the Fantastic Four films as well.
Yeah, the birth of the Fantastic Four films, which are not too bad.
I have a lot of thoughts. Maybe we'll cover those Fantastic Fours.
The best Fantastic Four movie so far?
Correct. Remember when Lawrence Fishburne voiced the Silver Surfer and it worked? And it also didn't work?
Yeah. But what all these other things have in common that we don't have in common with Batman Begins is they feel very comic booky. Like, the X-Men movies, very comic booky. The Spider-Man movies, even though they're kind of dramas.
Especially the second one.
Yeah, but still comic booky. Like, shot like a comic book movie.
Right.
So, Warner Brothers, fresh off of Batman and Robin, right?
Real
was
quick.
The last Batman thing we did.
I love George Clooney as Batman. It's just funny because George Clooney's the closest real-life person I feel like to Batman in Hollywood there is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably really true. He's got the hair.
Yeah, he does. He just has, like, the look of Bruce Wayne. Like, if I thought Bruce Wayne was real, I'm pretty sure George Clooney would be the guy that I think
Everyone's always like, we should bring Keaton back to do Batman Begins Bruce Wayne. I think Clooney would be a great Batman. Not Batman Begins, Batman Beyond Bruce Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the gray.
He does.
Temple.
Yeah.
He kind of got the swap, like the calmness of like an older Bruce Wayne. He doesn't have to do anything.
No, he doesn't.
Action things.
Just yell at Terry McGinnis for
he's just gonna yell at Terry McGinnis.
Minutes. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, but
you didn't like the Bat credit card. Never leave the cave without it.
Yeah, so that's what we're coming off of. That's our last appearance of Batman on film is that.
And it was a large gap because Joel Schumacher made those films, and yeah, not regardless of what you think about the amazing Mr. Freeze puns.
That movie came out in 1997.
So we went 8 years without any type of Batman on the big screen. Then you get to 2005, and you get this younger-ish filmmaker, I mean relatively to other aged filmmakers, named Christopher Nolan. And before his Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet fame, he was just this guy that made Memento and Insomnia, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And it's kind of funny. This relates kind of to Batman's comic history, too. I know we talked about it a little bit before we hopped on. It's funny how close they are, because this came off the jokey type of Batman, just like Batman Year One and The Dark Knight Returns did with Frank Miller. So Frank Miller and Christopher Nolan kind of have that in common, where they took this character to, up until that point, was a joke. It was a really jokey character that, I mean, Adam West's Batman feel to it, and then in comics, I mean, just crazy weird stories were happening. You just came off Crisis on Infinite Earths, which was kind of like a retcon for all of DC continuity in the comics, and you get to 1987 and you get to Batman Year One, and before that you get to Dark Knight Returns, and it's these two stories of this character that has such this just laughable history, and then just grounds it completely.
Right. And it's not long after those comics that you get Batman 89 comes out, which is a total redirect from the Adam West Batman, where they go in a darker direction. It's still campy.
Yeah, but it's the right type of... It's the camp of a guy that dresses up like a bat. Like, it's the ridiculousness of that, grounded in the world of this kid just lost his parents, and now he's going to stop at nothing to protect the city.
And Mr. Mom is in this.
He is in this.
So yeah, you're right. So they tap Christopher Nolan to direct. They tap Hans Zimmer to do the score.
Oh my god,
that's one of
the most iconic themes of all time. That Nolan and Zimmer era Batman theme, amazing. Don't get us copyrighted, man. It's too early. We didn't even hit 10 episodes and we're gonna get copyrighted.
But yeah, so they're like, we're doing Batman again, and we're going in a totally different direction. And we get Batman Begins.
Yes. Christian Bale era of Batman has begun.
Christian Bale is here.
Yeah.
Here he is.
Now let's just talk about Christian Bale for a second. I mean, probably...
relative unknown-ish at the time.
Not huge at this moment, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he'd done any... I think he'd done stuff. I'm pretty sure he did... American Psycho is probably where he got most of his fame from before this. And... you want to talk about body transformations from film to film. I mean, he was already in really good shape when he did American Psycho, and then gets to Batman Begins in 2005, just peak shape. And he really understands that kind of brokenness of the person that just lost their parents as if they'd grown up 10, 15, 20 plus years later. And it's just kind of cool to see him re-enter Gotham, but not just re-enter Gotham as this person that's already figured out. I love when we pick up at a moment in the film, you pick up as him just trying to kill Joe Chill for just a very human response. Just a very non-Batman, but very just regular person thing to do, is just get revenge on the person that killed your parents.
Yeah, so there are a couple of kind of casting what-ifs that were dealt with.
Oh, I love these.
Before Christian Bale. So we have young Henry Cavill.
Ooh.
Was considered. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Mm-hmm. I feel like any comic book character that's like kind of ready to get going, they're like, should Jake Gyllenhaal play this? And they're just like... especially
in like the early 2000s.
Oh my gosh.
Heath Ledger.
Interesting.
I feel like a little too baby-faced to be Batman. Yeah. Bruce Wayne. Cillian Murphy.
Oh, yes. Have you ever seen his audition tape?
I have.
It just shows how great of an actor Cillian Murphy is. But he just, like, and Nolan even says it, he said he wasn't right for, he said his audition tape was so good that he wasn't right for the role, but I just couldn't not have him in this film, and then he found his way to Scarecrow, which I'm so glad for.
Mm-hmm. Josh Hartnett was offered the role.
Interesting.
And turned it down.
Interesting.
Man, Batman Begins with Josh Hartnett?
No, I don't think that's too bad.
Not too bad.
Move over Christian Bale. You got competition.
But no, we end up with Christian Bale, and kind of from the first moment you see him on screen in this movie, where he's in the prison fight thing, you're like, oh yeah, he captures the brooding anger of Bruce Wayne really well.
Yeah, it's just, you go back to like your rebrand of any hero that just gets like a modern update. That's what this Christian Bale Batman kind of feels like. Just that hero. I like the fact that you said like this brooding presence of a person that's like on the outskirts of but like that mysterious type of like guy that's just like a natural trope of like any kind of story. And man, he does such a good job. Like he's really, I just feel his Bruce Wayne. It's funny because we don't really see much more of that Bruce Wayne after this. And we talked about that a little bit before, that I didn't love his Bruce Wayne after this. But, I mean, that was sort of overshadowed and forgiven by what we got in The Dark Knight. But at this moment, this is some of the best Bruce Wayne that we've gotten. And this is, I'm pretty sure, like most of the origin of him going in training with all these people, mainly the League of Assassins, that I need to become something that's bigger than just a rich billionaire playboy from Gotham.
Right. So I kind of want to plant my flag in the ground here and draw a distinction between this movie and the subsequent films. So I don't think that we're going to get any argument that The Dark Knight is a better movie.
Yes.
Right, than Batman Begins. But I will argue that Batman Begins is a better Batman movie than The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Because he does so much. There's so much. This movie, it almost feels like you could have had The Dark Knight without Batman in a weird way. Like he's not.
I feel like that's what Gotham was going for, but The Dark Knight just did it better. No, he's not.
In The Dark Knight.
I even feel like that film didn't even. It's funny, like the character was the theme in that film, if that makes sense. Like it was the theme of that chaos versus order really drove Dark Knight. But this one, like you said, it's the best actual Batman doing Batman things and Bruce Wayne doing Bruce Wayne things in this film.
Because in The Dark Knight Rises, he's Batman for like a half hour.
Yeah, then he's guy in cave that gets back broken.
Yeah.
So,
and then he comes back and he's Batman, but he doesn't really do Batman stuff. He just punches Bane for a bit.
And no Bruce Wayne stuff. There's like...
No, and what Bruce Wayne stuff you did get is old, sad, beaten up Bruce Wayne that we didn't need to see yet because feels like we always see that kind of Bruce Wayne at some point.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. And I just love that fact that it's funny because I even said before that this film is the only one, funny enough, that has Batman in the name. And then the other two have The Dark Knight because it was, like I said, it's more of like the theme of like what Batman means to Gotham, and that theme of that like order that he brings to Gotham City was more apparent in those films. But this film was more of just, it was his beginnings. This is just the origin of just some rich kid that got his entire life taken away from him, upended, and then him coming back to seek vengeance on and just justice for his city.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because even in this movie, he tells Alfred on the flight back from, I guess you can call it Nanda Parbat if you want, basically, is what it is he said, you know, I'm just a man, I'm flesh and blood, I can be erased, destroyed. Yep. He's like, but I need to become something greater, I need to become a symbol, because symbols live forever, and that's kind of what you're talking about in like the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises.
And it's funny because they bookend the Dark Knight Rises with him getting that shrine, and where was that, in City Hall, we'll say,
something
pretty
like that,
sure. And that just kind of brings the story full circle, but coming back to the beginning, like you said, he needed to build that aura around him and get that fear. And I don't know why they don't call him Wellman, because he fell into a well. Or Heights Man, not Batman.
Yeah, I don't know why he was afraid of bats. The bats weren't what got him. It was falling down the well that got him.
Yeah.
But so he falls down the well. He's attacked by bats. Bats.
Yeah. Bats are scary.
Bats are scary. Fast forward. And he's fighting in a prison because he just...
You just want to forget about the fact that his parents were killed, so we're just going to skip that.
Happens.
I actually love how the Joker movie did that. How it was like a nice... Because I remember we saw that in the theater and I walked out and I was like... I think you said like, they killed his parents. I was like, but they did it in a graceful way. Sorry, Martha and Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, out of all the times we've seen Batman's parents die on screen, this is maybe my favorite version of it.
I love how favorite's the word that we go with.
No, because every other version of it it's slow motion.
Oh yeah, drawn out.
It's the gun.
Zack Snyder took 5 minutes to show
it's the
two
gun
bullets.
On the pearls, slow motion, muzzle flash, bang. In this, it's like he's like, "Give me your wallet," and Thomas Wayne's like, "All right." Thomas Wayne, great mugging victim.
Great mugging, horrible dad. Great. He's a good dad, but for sake of my argument that the only great dad is Thanos, then...
Well, according to Ra's al Ghul, he's a terrible dad because he let himself get murdered.
Because if he's like the father, like the quote-unquote father of Gotham City, he's a horrible father. That city sucks. I would never go to Gotham City.
But no, going back to their murder, like, it's real quick.
Yeah.
Because he's like, give me your wallet, and then he drops the wallet, and Thomas Wayne's like, all right, man, pick up the wallet.
Yeah.
I'm cool. And then he's like, give me the jewelry. He's like, all right, honey, give him the jewelry.
Yeah.
But then the guy goes to reach in, and Thomas Wayne jumps in front, bang, and he's dead. And then bang, Martha Wayne's dead. And that's it.
Yeah.
Done. Where, like, every other time Batman's parents die, it's like turns into the Matrix.
Mm-hmm. It does. Why did Zack Snyder have to kill two just classic members of The Walking Dead in that opening for that movie? I don't know why he hates The Walking. He loves zombies, but he doesn't like zombies when it's not him. I think that was more personal.
That could be it. But yeah, so the Wayne family is murdered, and little Bruce is left all by his lonesome, and he's real sad about it.
And instead of going to therapy...
has to go cry with his billions of dollars that he's now inherited.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Man. Now I have a whole city that I have as my playhouse.
Wow, I own a company now, and I'm 13.
Sad. You know what I would have done? Fly anywhere. But this guy decides to fly to... where? Feudal China? Wherever?
He goes to hang out with Joe Rogan. And
all the
martial arts.
Yeah, that's first things first. So, this little kid grows up one day, as most people do, and he actually, before that, goes to... does he go to train, or does he go to kill Joe Chill first?
He goes to kill Joe Chill first, because he's got the I'm not worldly experienced enough haircut.
True. Very true.
You know what haircut I'm talking about.
Yeah, 100%. The two parts in the middle.
Yeah.
God, that's the richest haircut I've seen. But
that's the rich guy who hasn't seen any world experience haircut.
Yeah, that just got upended. Like, his whole company was taken from him. Yeah. And then, you see him go to kill Joe Chill, and Carmine Falcone gets to him first, because Bruce Wayne's an idiot.
Hooray for mobsters.
Yeah, yep. See, why does Martin Scorsese not like comic book movies? Like, this is like...
yeah, we got a mobster in this.
Yeah, we do. This is your playground. Why didn't Martin Scorsese just make a... oof. Listen, Martin, if you want to make a superhero movie, just do a Batman story that has to do with crime. You know what? Do a Spider-Man story that has to do with, like, Kingpin. That is your playground. That's your bread and butter.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Batman. So yeah, he totally doesn't get to kill Joe Chill, and he's like, I'm angry. I didn't get vengeance. And Rachel Dawes, played by Katie Holmes,
not
in this one.
Not Maggie Gyllenhaal yet.
No, we're not in the Maggie Gyllenhaal era yet.
I love how they cast her, and they were like, but what if we killed you halfway through the movie?
And they got A. Gyllenhaal, at least. But yeah, and she's like, what are you doing, Bruce? And he's like, I want to kill him for my dad. And she's like, she slaps him.
Yeah, she does.
He's like, look at this gun. And she smacks him. And he's like, all right, well, see you later. I'm going to go talk to the mob boss now.
Mm-hmm. And he does.
And it goes real well.
Yeah.
Carmine Falcone's like, get out of my face.
Mm-hmm. I'm Carmine Falcone. How did you think this was going to go, rich boy?
So at that point, Bruce Wayne decides, you know what? To hell with this.
Yeah.
To hell with going the straight route. Nothing's ever going to clean up in the city unless someone does something about it. So he leaves.
Yeah.
Like any great hero would. He leaves in the city's darkest hour.
Yeah, he did leave in the city's dark. You know what I love? That I feel like every movie, Alfred's like, you could just give the city money and resources. He's like, no, what if I dressed as a bat and beat down people in the middle of the night? That'll do it.
Yeah. So he trains across the world. We see all this off screen.
With Liam Neeson from Taken.
Yeah, so Liam Neeson's in this.
Theory time.
So he's learning all these martial arts, and then Liam Neeson shows up at a prison, and he's like, hey, that's some nice martial arts you got there. How would you like to be a ninja?
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne's like, oh yeah?
Much like anybody, I would do that. Sure.
Yeah. He's like, all you gotta do to become a ninja is get this flower and
help save my daughter.
And climb to the top of a mountain.
Oh, this isn't a Taken review?
Not yet.
Okay. We're getting there, though.
So Bruce Wayne does the thing. He climbs the mountain, gets the flower. Well, reverse order.
Very video game hero thing to do.
Yeah.
Get the thing and deliver it to the place.
And he does. And he gets there. And he delivers it to the mighty Ra's al Ghul, who's going to teach him the way of the ninja.
Who's played by one of my favorite actors of all time, Ken Watanabe. And guess what they do to Ken Watanabe?
Yeah.
They killed him.
Yeah, they did.
They Godzilla'd him.
So Bruce Wayne learns the way of the ninja from Liam Neeson, And Liam Neeson's like, all right, congratulations, Bruce Wayne, you're a ninja, but you got to kill this guy first to prove your loyalty, because we're just a ninja mafia.
A lot of mafia is going on in the Batman lore. Wherever you look, it's always
And Bruce
there.
Wayne's like, I will not kill this man. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow this entire place up and kill all these ninjas.
Yeah, did he just think he didn't kill anybody when he did that? He probably
did.
killed the guy that he was supposed to kill when he did that, too.
And then he saves Liam Neeson, and he's off.
Yeah.
Back to Gotham. Hello, Alfred. I've learned martial arts.
Yeah. Yeah. I basically Oliver Queen this, so...
I feel like we're crapping on this movie. It's a really good movie.
No. This is, we're joking, obviously.
Yeah. So we get back to Gotham City, and Bruce Wayne's like, I had an epiphany while I was gone. I'm going to become a symbol for the city. And Michael Caine is like, oh, yeah?
Yeah, by the way, Michael Caine's Alfred is
Great
the
casting.
perfect casting.
Ah, it's so good.
This is one of the best casted comic book franchises ever.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that right now if you want.
Yeah,
We can do the casting stuff now.
Do you want to get the Liam Neeson and Tom Hardy thing out of the way?
Look, Liam Neeson, I think, is really great in this.
Yeah, the only thing I will say about that is that we did see Ra's al Ghul. He's just taking the head of the demon. I can't say anything for Tom Hardy being Bane. That one's a little bit more, you can be angry about that one, and rightfully so, but this Liam Neeson one, that's how I'm going to take this, is that he's just the next head of the demon. He isn't supposed to actually be Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah,
He's just
I don't
using
think
his
they
name.
ever really explained that.
And I feel like they went I feel like they also kind of made it apparent, like, you just saw Ra's al Ghul, like, he was there and he died.
Yeah,
He's
I think
just
the
taking
implication, it's implied by the film that he was Ra's al Ghul the entire time, but upon rewatching it, I don't get that sense.
No, Ken Watanabe was Ra's al Ghul, and
Yeah.
it was like apparent that he was Ra's al Ghul. And
Yeah.
then but I mean, who's telling Liam Neeson no on a film set?
No, and he's good in this.
Yeah, he is.
He's a real compelling kind of antagonist. And we talked about this before we jumped on here. I don't think he works as a third act antagonist.
No.
I think the focus should have just been on Scarecrow.
Yep, because it's a lot. If you were to link the two of them, which I even said I didn't love too much that they kind of linked the two of them, because it was a little too easy for just him to be like, well, I was working with Scarecrow the whole time. That's why he's been here the whole time.
Hello, Bruce. It's me, Liam Neeson.
Yeah, I'm back from you saving me from that cliff where we killed all those ninjas.
I'm going to say something real cryptic behind your back, and then you're going to slow turn, and what?
Yeah.
You're back.
Yeah. So didn't love that too much, but one thing I did love was his first outing as Batman.
Fantastic.
Great. Just sets the tone of what this franchise is going to be.
It takes the classic superhero becoming a superhero thing and does it probably better than any other movie outside of maybe Iron Man 1.
Oh yeah, Iron Man 1's first moment was like one of the coolest superheroes turning into a superhero moment. And it's funny they're kind of two different characters, because they're both the guys that had money that lost a lot of stuff. One of them lost their heart and the other one lost their parents. And instead of seeking therapy as one would do, or physical therapy, they said, why don't we just be superheroes? And yeah, his first outing as Batman, and it's what he talked about, you're creating that aura of fear. He said, he even asked him, he's like, why bats, sir? And he said, well, I fear bats, so now I'm going to make everybody in the city
Make everybody else fear bats.
Yeah. And yeah,
And boy, does he.
Yeah, he does it. He does it well. And just the first I'm Batman. Did they show that in the first trailer for that movie?
I don't remember.
I feel like they did, and that was like the big, this is not
You couldn't you couldn't watch trailers back then the same way you can now, where you can just quick YouTube it and pull it up. Back then, it was you either saw the trailer in the movie theater, or you went to some weird website and you had to download it for like 40 hours in order to watch it.
Yeah.
So like once you saw a trailer, like you only saw it once.
Right.
And then you're like, that's it. I'm not going on my way to see the trailer again. So it's definitely a different time period. So I don't remember the first Batman Begins trailer. But
regardless, that first moment where you hear him say it, it's just
also a callback to the Keaton films too.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is cool.
Oh yeah. And you kind of feel that, like, you feel that Keaton-esque era, and you also feel just like a modernness to it. Like, just this is the new era of Batman where
And it's shot well.
Oh, it's shot phenomenally. Really good. I think this movie was nominated for Best Cinematography, too. And Honestly, rightfully so, because 2005 was kind of like, I feel like 2004 on and up until like 2007, 8 was like a big transition in film where a lot of people started using digital, and it was like that era where everything, just like the Batman, just like that kind of juxtaposition for the, like, a lot of new things started happening, and it's just like this beginning of this new era. So
yeah, so it gets that best cinematography nod, which is really like it starts the kind of thing that Nolan eventually achieves, where he gets The Dark Knight an Academy Award for Heath Ledger's performance.
yeah.
Where people were looking at comic book movies a little differently, and this is kind of the genesis of that, because it doesn't look or feel like a superhero movie when you take, putting the Batman stuff aside.
Yeah, not until the third act. I don't even. Yeah. You even see Batman on the screen in the first and second act, but you don't. Second act, I'm pretty sure. But even up until that point, it still doesn't feel like a traditional comic book movie. It feels the most real out of anything that we've gotten up until that point.
It feels like natural.
Yeah,
in a weird way. As weird as the story is of this guy who loses his parents and decides he comes back to dress up like a bat and fight crime. It's the most real way that they could have told that story.
Oh, yeah. Big time. And we get into... So, you want to talk about the Tumbler? You want to talk about the Batmobile?
Sure.
What comes with the Batman is the gadgets.
Which he gets from Lucius Fox.
Yes. So, Morgan Freeman plays Lucius Fox.
Great casting.
Amazing. Just goes down to this movie was just casted so well. And he has a whole bunch of military tech, and he's like, do you want this, Bruce Wayne, for spelunking, I think he says? And Bruce Wayne's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to use this for spelunking. And they give each other that
He's
look.
like, I have this Kevlar resistant, suit made for, military grade. And Bruce is like, is it bulletproof? And he's like, yeah, probably. Unless it's, point blank. And he's like, great. Give it to me. I'm going spelunking. And Morgan Freeman's like, oh, you gonna encounter a lot of gunfire while you're spelunking? And Bruce Wayne's like, see you later.
Yeah. And Lucius Fox just never thinks twice about it.
I mean, he knows.
He does. You know what I just want to feel? I want to feel like that's just Morgan Freeman playing God from Bruce Almighty, and he just knows everything. So he's like, yeah, might as well help Bruce Wayne if that's one of my endeavors.
Yeah. So he gets his gadgets, he puts the suit together, and it's on.
It's on. It's on.
It's so on.
You want to talk about the rain scene where he drops that one detective 10, 15, 20 stories down?
Oh, yeah. I love yoink. I love a good yoink in Batman. That's my favorite Batman thing, is when, close-up shot of bad guy, insert bad guy here, and it's a close-up of their face, and then you hear the zip thing go off, and yoink!
And then his buddy turns around, he's like, what was that? Yeah, it's great. Great superhero content whenever anybody does that.
Yeah, he does that a couple times in this movie, too, to a couple different people, and it gets me every time.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for a good yoink.
Yeah. Lucius Fox, you did a great job with that suit and all that technology.
Yeah, so what he does in this, they really drive home the fear bit.
Yeah, they do. And it's a big motif of the film is fear. How you can use fear, how fear can mold you, and what childhood trauma fear can do to you. Is it going to make you into a killer like it did Crane, or is it going to make you into a hero like Batman?
Yeah, and speaking of Crane, just
Cillian Murphy.
Absolutely fantastic performance.
I love how you said fantastic, because you know who I think should play Dr. Doom in the MCU?
Cillian Murphy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I forgot how good he is in this movie.
Oh, he's one of those actors. He reminds me of Paul Dano, There Will Be Blood. The new Riddler, actually. Almost forgot about that. Where it's he has this kind of stone coldness to him, if that makes sense.
Very cold.
It's creepy. They're just the way they move, they just got this
he's got the eye. He's got serious serial killer blue eyes, which I think I read, going into this, I did a little bit of research about how Nolan was so enamored with his eyes that he made any excuse he could for Crane to take his glasses off in any given scene, because he wanted to focus on Cillian Murphy's eyes. Right. And I'm just that's good stuff.
Yeah. And he plays it so well. And you made a point, and now that we've been talking about this for a little bit, and I've been thinking about it, maybe Crane should have just been the villain of this.
He could have been, because I feel like what this movie kind of the shortcoming of this movie is it kind of forces Ra's al Ghul back into the third act. So it wraps up the Crane stuff pretty rapidly.
Like, he just turns into a villain of the week at the end of the movie, and it's kind of disappointing.
Has this really good moment where he beats Batman.
Yeah, he does.
He hits him with the fear toxin, he sets him on fire, leaves Batman flying out a window and screaming for help. Like, good win for Scarecrow.
Yeah, you're doing great, man. I don't think you need Ra's al Ghul to end what you need to do.
But then, like, the next time we see him is when he drugs Rachel, and then Batman shows up and just breaks him.
Yeah.
Like, that's the end of it. And I'm just like, man.
Yeah, like, just, like, going over that fear, that ideal of fear for the whole film, like, you would want your main bad guy to be, like, use the thing that the whole film is based around, the whole theme of the movie is based around. And, I mean, the League of Assassins they're just the League of Assassins. Like, obviously, yeah, they get more depth once you get around to Dark Knight Rises a little bit, but it's more for Bane.
But that's the thing, right? So we talked about this before. I think it would have been cool if the last time we see Liam Neeson is at that moment where Batman leaves him in the hut. Or where, he leaves him in the hut with one of the townspeople, and the townsperson's like, I'll tell him that you saved his life or whatever. It would have been real cool if that's the last time we see that character until The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, and then I even said, like, a cool thing that could have happened is, what if Bane killed Ra's al Ghul in that movie too? Because that would have also shown you, like, not only did this man break my back, he beat the one guy that, like, he killed possibly the most dangerous man next to me on the entire planet that even I couldn't beat one-on-one, like, to a full extent. He didn't even beat him in this movie. He just let him get thrown off a train.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of wish Cillian Murphy was just the villain of this movie, and it would have been cool to just not see Ra's al Ghul again, but kind of set up just something in the future as well.
Yeah, and it would have been very Ra's al Ghul for him to, like, just chill in the background for, like, 2 more movies, and then make his grand reappearance.
Right. Gary Oldman's in this.
Yes.
And
as a fabulous Jim Gordon.
Yes. Amazing. I said, we talked about this a little bit, and I've had this discussion with some people over the last, like, month, I want to say. We've been talking about who, like, the best actor of all time. That's a tough question. Anytime it's, like, revolving around an art, I've kind of wanted to get myself into the fact of, like, staying away from this is definitively the best because it's really subjective. But I think Daniel Day-Lewis for me is, like, the one that I always kind of gravitate back towards. And I said that, listen, Gary Oldman could play Daniel Plainview in There Will Be Blood, but Daniel Day-Lewis can play his character in The Fifth Element. So Gary Oldman, amazing actor. We love you, man.
Yeah, and he sells just an absolute warmth to Jim Gordon in this movie.
A real care for Gotham City, too.
Yeah.
Like a young care of, like, just this naive thought process behind, I'm a detective. Because he's Sergeant
Jim Gordon at this point. He's just a cop. He's not Commissioner Gordon yet.
Yeah. He doesn't have to wear the uniform anymore. He's out of the uniform range.
He's got the mustache.
Yeah, he does. But that leads me into the other kind of half that I wanted to talk about this week, and that's kind of where this movie drew a lot of inspiration from, down to where Commissioner Gordon's at in this movie, and down to literally ripped from the last panel of this book is Batman Year One. So Batman Year One is an amazing story. So we get around to 1984. Like I said earlier, it's Crisis on Infinite Earths. The DC landscape in comics is changing, and a lot of characters are getting updated origins, and we get Dark Knight Returns for Batman, a future look at how dark this character can become and kind of the world of Gotham can become. But for an ending to a character, we also need a beginning. So Frank Miller and Mazzucchelli kind of make this landscape of not only Bruce Wayne, but Gotham City. Kind of what the show Gotham, I think, was trying to go for, but this is where it captures it the best. And kind of what they use for this film as well is we just see, like you said, a Sergeant Jim Gordon freshly into Gotham. We see a young Harvey Dent, which we get in the next movie. Just this kind of young hotshot lawyer that says, man, I can really make a difference in the city, but kind of bites off more than he can chew to kind of do anything he can for the quote-unquote greater good. But we just see this young Batman making mistakes sometimes. You don't see a perfect Batman. I think he even gets captured by the police. He crashes the car. Like, he's not perfect. He doesn't do everything great. But this kind of is a stand-in. I mean, even the last panel is the same thing as this movie. It's this guy in the comic, they said this guy that calls himself the Joker's been poisoning people. And in this movie, they pick up the card and it's the Joker card.
Yeah.
So just kind of, I think we talked about adaptations with the Matt Fraction run of Hawkeye going into the Hawkeye show. This, I think, I didn't even think about this until we dive into this. I think this is probably one of the closer kind of adaptations we've ever seen go from comic to screen. Comic to screen.
I think it's a good comic to adapt off of because Year One is ostensibly an origin story.
It is.
And this movie is... Yeah, I mean, Year One is kind of a rebooting of Batman, and this movie is also a rebooting of Batman.
Yep.
You know, like we said earlier up top, like it goes in a totally different direction than any of the Batman movies before it. You get a real like auteur director to do it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't know. Trying to think off the top of my head, have we really seen a Christopher Nolan-esque director do a comic book movie?
I mean, the only one that I can think of off the top of my head is James Mangold doing Logan, because James Mangold's a Academy Award nominated director.
That's also another movie that looks extremely different from other comic book movies.
And that's also, funny enough, really close, not close, but the feel of the comic Old Man Logan is really close to what you got in the Logan film. Not the content necessarily, but how it made you feel. So no, they did a great job of it. I mean, you want to look at what we've gotten even afterwards too. This is one of the best origin movies because it's not overly complicated. It's very, especially for the character of Batman. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about in terms of characters in this film before we get into like the third act and kind of how this all goes out and kind of sets up the Dark Knight, it's Gotham. Very important that for fictional cities, because I mean, New York already tells its own story for Spider-Man. That's pretty simple, but he kind of fits himself into the city. But Gotham, and I love what Matt Reeves said at the first DC Fandom and why that Batman trailer did so much for me and why this film worked. You need to set Gotham up as its own character. Like, it's so important that fictional city that's supposed to be kind of like the stand-in for New York, like, and kind of why New York's so dirty. Like, same thing they did pretty phenomenally in the Joker movie is Gotham needs to feel like this place where nobody's safe. Batman, no Batman. And I love how it helped in The Dark Knight. Kind of Heath Ledger's kind of whole ideology was, doesn't matter what we do, like, this will always revert to chaos. You cannot leave people in this concrete jungle and expect nothing, like everything good to happen. Like, this is a garbage city that does not need saving, it needs ending.
Yeah, and I forget if it's Falcone or Rachel that says it to Bruce in this movie, where Bruce is like, when he's dead set on getting vengeance for his parents, they're like, there's going to be 1 million people like your parents.
Yeah, there's going to be Joe Chills everywhere.
Right.
Like, it does not matter.
It's the city. The city is doing this to people.
Right.
It's not, Joe Chill wasn't ostensibly a bad person. The city put him down on his luck, and there's millions of other people like him. Like, you're not, just by getting rid of him, you're not rooting out the problem. And I don't think it's just one character that kind of reinforces that idea to him. A bunch of them do it. Rachel does it. Alfred does it. They all do it. They're like...
That's why Alfred even says, like I said earlier, like, you need to give the city resources and money. You don't need to give it your body. In The Dark Knight Rises, he said, you don't need to give the city your body. It doesn't need that. But then Bruce believes, and honestly might be right about that, I'll give him this, is you need to give this city something to hope for. That's what they didn't have.
And make the criminals fear. I mean, the Joker talks about it in The Dark Knight when he confronts the mobsters. He's like, I know why you guys don't go out at night. I know why you're having your meetings in the middle of the day.
Right.
It's because you're afraid of Batman.
Right.
Which, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Bruce.
Yeah. Good job, man. Doing good stuff.
But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about him as Bruce Wayne in this.
Best Bruce Wayne for this trilogy by far. Yeah. And you feel that when he comes back from Gotham in the suit at the party, and I want you to talk about what I think is probably one of our favorite scenes in this movie.
Oh, yeah. So, are we talking the birthday party where he's drunk, or the hotel?
No, birthday. Both, but let's talk about the hotel, because it's the most Bruce Wayne thing to do.
Yeah,
and I want to talk. There's like a really good comic moment that I can think of, but go ahead.
And it's great because, so leading up to that, Alfred tells him, like, look, listen, you're into this Batman thing, and I'm not crazy about it, but okay, but you still have to be Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, and Bruce Wayne's like, I don't want to be Bruce Wayne. He's like, well, you're a billionaire and you own the most famous company in the world.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be around.
Yeah, people are going to ask questions.
Yeah, he's like, if you're just doing this and nobody's seeing you, people are going to wonder what you're doing in Gotham City.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not running your company. So Bruce Wayne's like, all right, fine, I'll do Bruce Wayne stuff. So he shows up at the hotel with like the most beautiful woman in the world, and he's just putting on a show. And these women are in a hotel lobby pool, and they're naked. And the guy comes over to him and's like, look, Bruce Wayne, you gotta go. Like, you're causing trouble. And Bruce Wayne's like, nah, actually, I bought the hotel, so I can do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just the most Bruce Wayne thing I can think of. It's just it's like in his own psyche, like splitting. It's like that Bruce Banner Hulk thing of like he literally split himself off from Bruce Wayne, where it's like his character's Bruce Wayne at this point. His character's not Batman anymore. Like, he is Batman at this point. That's the only
He's kind of a sociopath.
He is a sociopath. He gives Loki a run for his... No, Loki's a narcissist. He's not really a... But still, beside the point, he is really... His whole life is predicated around being this symbol for fear and justice in this broken, rundown city. That to the point where Bruce Wayne doesn't matter to him. But Alfred makes the great point, like you said, you need to be Bruce Wayne. This won't work without your alter ego. And a great example of alter egos, because I love how Marvel, besides Spider-Man, has just said nobody has it. Everybody knows that Wanda Maximoff's the Scarlet Witch. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows Peter Parker's Spider-Man at this point.
Yeah.
Nobody's safe in the MCU, but in the DC universe, everybody's safe.
Yeah, until you
yeah,
know, Batman starts letting people on that he's Batman.
Yeah, worst kept secret outside of Oliver Queen and the Arrow show.
Oh God,
told everybody he's the Arrow.
Everybody knows, but no, you're right. And then so the birthday party at Wayne Manor, when he is like, you know, this is where like the Batman and Bruce Wayne kind of coincide and like collide with each other, right? Because he knows that Scarecrow has this plot to poison the city, much like Batman Year One. The city's being poisoned by the fear toxin and the microwave gun. Do you want to talk about do you want to sidebar about the microwave gun?
Yes, I do.
Real quick.
So it's just funny how we had this like kind of grandiose, kind of big, but also really so grounded story that you're pulling from a really grounded writer and story from Batman Year One to this really like introspective and really grounded filmmaker like Christopher Nolan that deals with these big worlds, and then it gets to here's a microwave gun. They third act CGI skybeamed it for this third act, and it didn't work for me.
Yeah, there's like a quick scene where Lucius Fox is hanging out in Applied Sciences, and one of the big wigs at Wayne Enterprises is like, "Hey, so I know you have this microwave gun, and we lost it. And you're fired."
Yeah, and listen, I love you, Lucius Fox, but you are fired. How did you just misplace this? I know it was stolen, but you can't misplace something that can irradiate a city.
Yeah, so they're gonna erase the water supply and replace it with the fear gas?
It's the fear gas goes into the water line, so when it becomes vaporized, it turns into a
gas. That's right. That's what it was.
Makes you see your biggest fear, so Bruce is just going to see a whole bunch of wells.
Yeah. And his parents.
Sorry, man.
And being broke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So before we hopped on, we were kind of wrestling what Bruce Wayne's biggest fear is, and we just think it's no money.
Yeah.
Because look what happened in The Dark Knight Rises when he had no money. He got his back broken after he lost he got his back broken after he lost all his money.
Yeah. So he's at this birthday party and he's wrestling with the Batman part of it, which is I gotta save the people here, but I also gotta be Bruce Wayne because it's my birthday. Mm-hmm. So he goes out there and, well, first he's confronted by this woman who's like, "Mr. Wayne, you gotta meet this guy I just met. His name is Ra's al Ghul." And Bruce Wayne's like, "What?
Excuse me? Ra's al what?"
And then it cuts to that moment I talked about earlier where Liam Neeson's like, "Surprise.
Yeah.
I'm twirling my mustache and I'm evil. I'm back." And Bruce is like, "All right." And so then he gets up there and he pretends to be drunk and he's like, "I hate every single person in this room and get out." And he has this great moment where he's like, "It's not a joke. Stop laughing." He's like, "Leave."
And then they do leave.
And everyone's like, "You're a real prick, Bruce Wayne."
He's like, "I know."
He's like, "Yeah, I know. Get out."
Yeah.
Liam Neeson's like, "That won't save them." And Bruce Wayne's like, "Oh yeah? Watch this."
And it does. And I want to think that Ra's al Ghul is like, wow, this guy's got some pull. This guy made all these millionaires just leave his house.
And then Ra's al Ghul uses Bruce Wayne's greatest weakness against him, fire.
Yeah.
And he sets the mansion on fire.
He's Martian Manhunter. That's what I'm going to take from this.
Yeah. And then, so he's not really Batman for a lot of the third act.
No.
He's kind of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the point of the movie, really.
Yeah.
He only Batmans up towards like the end.
Yeah, he can't use
literally trying to save the city with his gadgets.
He can't use his main fear tactic right now. He has, and
He's a hero.
Yeah, it needs to be, you can create this aura around yourself and this kind of facade, but at the end, you're still, in Alfred always, like, you're still that little kid that fell in the cave. You're not this man. You can become a symbol, and you can become a symbol for fear and justice, but you're still Bruce Wayne. As much as you want to delete that version of yourself, that's still who you are. Bruce Wayne needs to save the day. Bruce Wayne needs to save the city. And it's kind of cool to just see him. Not cool to see, like, a branch, or scaffolding fall, and then Michael Caine gives the greatest line in the movie where he says, you do all those bloody push-ups and you can't push a bloody log off you. I'm like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the peak.
I fucking love Michael Caine.
Yeah, he's the greatest. But yeah, he puts in the piano password, I guess, because that's the most secure thing in the world.
Yeah, it's very Batman.
Yeah, it is very Batman. Don't think that this movie is not as campy as the Batman and Robin movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get my car. I'll take mine.
Yeah.
Yours. Batmobile.
Just rolls over a police car. Unnecessary, by the way. Bruce Wayne's a villain. I don't care what anybody... Can I get into my Bruce Wayne slander?
Yeah.
That he's an overrated superhero? He's not even a superhero?
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
Like I said from the very beginning, you could have easily gotten therapy, but you said, let me put on an all-black costume and go out there and beat up people that aren't even committing bad crimes.
And he killed all those ninjas.
He did kill all those ninjas. You know what happens if those ninjas got like a good leader that did good things, but now they don't have any potential because you killed them?
And then, so the end comes, and he makes this big deal about not killing people, but he gets around it on a technicality.
Yeah, he does.
Ra's al Ghul's like, you won't kill me, and Batman's like, no.
Is that just like the same thing of like wishing for a million wishes from a genie? Like it was just a technicality that you didn't kill anybody?
He's like, no, I don't have to, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you either. But wouldn't Batman save him in that? I mean, he saves the Joker.
He saves the Joker, but he doesn't save the guy that tried to train him. And you know why? It's because Batman started to agree with the Joker at the end of The Dark Knight. 100% why. He was like, this guy's making some solid points. This city does kind of suck.
So, yeah, I mean, the third act of this movie is kind of, it's okay.
CGI demon horses because of the fear gas and...
Yeah.
Oh, Joffrey's in this movie.
Talk about mistakes made, Batman.
Should have killed him when you had the chance.
You should have killed him like you killed all those ninjas.
What did he throw him the grappling gun? He should have just shot him with the grappling gun. That's what he should have done. Yeah. Sorry, Joffrey.
Would have saved people a lot of trouble in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But yeah. But, I mean, like I said, overall, this movie is really, really good. Like, I forgot how good it was.
Yeah, I thought... I watched it. It's funny because you watched it...
The other night.
Yeah.
Last night. Yeah.
I watched this about a month ago. I watched the whole trilogy probably less than a month ago, and I just thought about it when I watched it. I was like, this is so much better than I remember, that because I hadn't watched it in a couple of years.
The opening is great.
Yeah, the opening's really good. It's just we hadn't really seen that, like, training Bruce Wayne to get to the Batman. I feel like he'd always just been in Gotham City. Like, we never saw, like, because in the comics it's apparent that, like, he's traveled the world, trained with scientists, gurus, assassins, detectives, all these things to get where he was. But we'd always been like, well, he's already in Gotham City, he's already Bruce Wayne, and he's already done all that stuff. I'm glad we kind of saw it and a more realistic take on it, not just Val Kilmer just sitting in a penthouse apartment and just Wayne Mansion being rich.
Yeah.
Sorry to do that to you, Val Kilmer. We love you, man.
Yeah. But, no, like I said, third act aside, this movie's way better than I remember it being. And like I said, it's the quintessential Batman film to me. I mean, you know, Batman 89 was a little before my time, and I know a lot of people have a lot of reverence for that film. Yeah. And for good reason.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that does a really good job of taking the campiness and kind of using it to his advantage while incorporating the darkness of what of the Dark Knight. It's kind of funny how like the distance, like the Dark Knight from the Batman, like how even like Bruce Wayne's Batman's alter ego, like the Dark Knight is the aura of what Batman is. Like, yeah, it's just did a great job. Great casting across the board. I mean, Christian Bale just won everybody over, I feel like, after this.
And like I said, this is, out of the three, this is the best one for him.
Yeah, this is his best film. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. This is where Christian Bale shines as, like, the new prince of being in that superhero genre.
And I feel like I want to watch The Dark Knight again and try to, like, put the Heath Ledger stuff kind of aside and pay attention to Bale. Because Heath Ledger is so good and so almost in an overwhelming way.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, I feel like, so from, like, a camera perspective, if I'm thinking about The Dark Knight, I feel like it's funny to say that something that was nominated for Best Cinematography takes a step up in the next film, but I feel like it's funny because this one has the best character study on Bruce Wayne, but that one shoots Bruce the best, and it shoots Batman the best because it always shows him in sequences of distraught and, like just dismay. Like, one of my favorite shots in cinema of all time is him like that silhouette shot where he's standing on the rubble. That's always where you find him in The Dark Knight. Like, he loses Rachel, that's where you see him. There's never like a good moment of him just standing around. It's always something has happened that's bad. Like, he like gets the upper hand on villains in this and like mobsters in this movie, but in The Dark Knight he doesn't. So once
the Joker is always like one step ahead.
Yeah. And yeah, once we get around to deep diving on that movie, I'm definitely going to talk about how they were just brilliant behind the camera part.
Yeah. So like I said, I want to watch The Dark Knight again and really pay attention to Bale because Ledger is so overwhelmingly good that it's hard to pay attention to what Bale's doing, which feels weird in a Batman movie, but that's just where we ended up with The Dark Knight. Like, the Joker performance is so magnetic that you really don't want to watch anything other than the stuff he's in.
Right.
Which, I mean, it's interesting because the Joker gets a lot of singular scenes in The Dark Knight that Scarecrow doesn't get in this. Ra's obviously doesn't get in this. You know, I don't think there's a singular scene for Ra's. I think every scene he's in is with Bruce, right?
Yeah, it's just like scenes in passing, but like Rachel was in the scene like where he's in passing when they get to Gotham City for the third act. But yeah, like you said, it's for The Dark Knight, it's different, but this movie was more about Christian Bale's ascension into Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Which is why it's the best Batman movie.
You gotta enunciate, because then people are gonna be up in arms of, have you ever seen yes, and you said it, The Dark Knight's a better movie, subjectively. I mean,
I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is too. I think it's one of the best movies ever, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
But this movie does the best for Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, like I said, we see him do all the Batman stuff. He's got all the gadgets, he's got the car, and he has cool sequences with like the Tumblr sequence in The Dark Knight is really, really great too.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But this one is like the introduction to like just a tank. The police officer even says, it's like, we got eyes on a black tank, ? And it feels like honestly more real. Like, that, like, instead of, like, this,
it's
like
this
crazy
enigma has showed up in our city, and we have no idea what to do.
Yeah, it's real. Like, it'd be like if that happened today. Like, it's not like there's, like, this cool customized car that, like, a billionaire that had, like, $1 million in the mind of a child would make it. Like, it's probably some military tech that somebody stole or made, which is what happened, which makes more sense. And it's something that Elon Musk would, too.
Yeah, and it builds up the myth of the Bat really well too. Like he's operating in the shadows, and everyone's like, "Well, is he real? Is he a monster?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening here?"
And it helps for The Dark Knight. Oh, I forgot, Cillian Murphy's also in The Dark Knight. He's in the beginning. Thanks for not killing him off.
He's also in The Dark Knight Rises.
He is in the Dark. He's the judge in Dark Knight. He must have really liked Cillian Murphy. But you might as well have just made him Batman. If you love him that much, you might as well have just made him Batman. But yeah, I think it helps in the beginning of The Dark Knight, just helping that kind of the big overarching fear, which is Batman, to the city of like, even some of like the guys, like, I think they're like selling each other something. He's like, nah, man, I don't want to do business here. He's like, you got a better chance of winning the Powerball than seeing him. Like, it helps. And you don't get that without this movie.
Right. And I mean, the ending, you get the ultimate tease.
Oh my God. So, like I said earlier, getting back to where all these great properties come from, these stupid little books that you can get at some stores that are just absolutely amazing and filled with amazing stories. Jim Gordon holds up a little card, and on that card is the Joker. A Joker. Normal Joker.
So the Riddler is going to be in the next movie.
Yeah, just if you guys got confused, it was the Joker. But yeah, just great tease from the comic and from the movie too, to Batman. I mean, that's pretty definitive that the Joker and Batman are the most like recognizable.
And I don't remember at the time if we knew we were getting a sequel to
No,
this.
I don't think we did either. I think I was 7 when this movie came out. But going back and looking at behind the scenes stuff, I'm almost certain that this was like, at the time, this was it. Like, it was just, we'll see. And it was just, if.
You know, we got Nolan to do this, and it's like a one-off.
Yeah.
And that's it. But then you get the Joker tease at the end, and you're like, oh. Oh?
Yeah. And like I said, I think not even like Spider-Man Green Goblin or Superman Lex Luthor, like Batman Batman Joker is the two-sided coin. Funny enough for Harvey Dent and the imagery of that, but yeah, that tease at the end was just, it was perfect. Perfect tease, and it just showed you the potential that some of these comic book properties can have in the future. And I always say it that Batman and Spider-Man, like, I wish they had TV shows that were on like HBO Max or like Disney Plus for Spider-Man, because like you can really take seasons, like Game of Thrones-esque, like seasons upon seasons of time just to flesh out characters, villains. Like, you have so much to go off.
That's why not everyone's favorite iteration, but a lot of people's favorite iteration of Batman is the Batman animated show.
Yeah.
You know, from the 90s.
Yeah.
Because it was a serial, and it was, you know, week by week and full seasons.
Right.
And, you know, I feel like as good as the Marvel movies are, as amazing as the MCU is, and all the amazing comic movies we've seen, a lot of these properties are better suited in long form.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because you get.
See what happened with Arrow?
Yeah.
Arrow, you took a character that didn't even have a fraction, I want to say, of the lore that the Batman did, and you turned it into 8 seasons and what spanned into one of like the biggest properties for anything comic book.
And a really compelling character arc. Same thing with the Marvel Netflix shows.
True.
Same thing.
Yeah.
You know, these things are often better told in long form. I mean, like I said, don't get me wrong, the films are great, but when you can really sit down with a character for 20 hours of TV versus... I think this movie clocks at like 220.
Yeah, it's not... I think this is the shortest out of the whole franchise, right?
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, no, I 100% agree. So yeah, the one thing I want to leave on this is just how this kind of relates to the new Batman movie. And can we get controversial? I don't think this is controversial, but just your opinion. Who's your favorite Batman?
Animated doesn't count?
You can count it. I love counting the animated.
Oh, man, that Kevin Conroy Batman is so iconic. Like, he just gets it. Like, he gets the character, you know? Like, from the Batman animated series to he voices him in the Arkham games. And those games are a great Batman character study.
We might need to do just an episode dedicated to those Batman games, because I'll never forget the first time you're flying down into Arkham Asylum for the first game, and I was like, and you get the same feeling from Spider-Man PS4, and just goes back to why Batman is the greatest DC character, or one of, I don't want to definitively say it, but and Spider-Man's like, they have the most lore to pull from, is because they're just, you can go mobsters, you can go science, you can go magic, you can go with the other heroes on top of that. Like, there's so many different things you can branch out into. But
yeah, I would probably say Kevin Conroy. If I had to go live action, I might say Ben Affleck. Like, if I'm just looking at Batman.
Man, I thought it was going to be controversial when I said Ben Affleck was also my favorite Batman.
If I'm just looking at Batman, like, everything independent, right?
I've been saying
if I'm
this
just
for
looking
so
at Batman,
long.
independent of the movies that he's in, if I'm just looking at Batman, and like, if I could take that Batman and put him in The Dark Knight, that would be amazing. Like, I feel like if you took Ben Affleck's Batman and put him in The Dark Knight, the Heath Ledger performance wouldn't be as overwhelming, because I feel like he'd be able to sell the Batman stuff really well.
Yeah. I just think it would be a little bit too much of you might take the realism out of it a little bit more, because Ben Affleck's Batman is like a full out brawler.
Yeah.
That's like, he would have found a way, because I mean, the guy's come face to face with Steppenwolf and not died, so I can see why it wouldn't have worked. But yes, you know why I love Ben Affleck? There's this little scene in Batman vs. Superman, which is just so Bruce Wayne to me. So he goes to that fight ring towards the beginning of the movie, and it's just the detective. He just lays the phone on the counter, and he starts talking to KG Beast, and they're just talking, and like he's speaking a different language, very Bruce Wayne. He's teaching somebody that he just met 10 seconds ago how to beat another man in a fight, very Bruce Wayne. He puts the phone on the desk, lifts it up, and he extracts information. Like, all those things are super Bruce Wayne detective Batman things to me. And I just gotta say, he has like the Bruce Wayne look, like that smug billionaire that people would probably hate if he was a real person, but is probably like not that bad of a person, that suffered a tragedy when he was a child and didn't know how to cope with it. Like, that's
fell down a well.
Yeah, fell down a well. Well, man. DC, listen up, man. I'm giving you guys the blueprint. But yeah, I really like Bruce. I really like Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I know that might be controversial to some people, regardless of what you think of the films. That, however you feel about the killing, that warehouse scene in Batman vs Superman is oof.
Elite.
Yeah, great
The
Batman.
best Batman, pure Batman action sequence.
Fighting Batman that we've gotten. Yeah.
I think Bale does the stalking Batman really well.
Yeah.
I think his Batman's great at the, like, if you go back to
shadows.
If you go back to like the Arkham games, like the Predator mode, like
the Predator mode is amazing.
like Predator mode, Bale is the best Predator mode Batman.
Yeah.
But Affleck's Batman is the best fighting combat Batman.
And best Bruce Wayne throughout.
Yeah.
We're just going to replace the regular Justice League with the Snyder Cut because it makes his Bruce Wayne a little bit better. But, yeah.
So, yeah, that's Batman Begins. And we're Batman beginning again next year.
Yeah. And, man, we've talked about it so much, but I feel like it can't be talked about enough that I can't wait to see. It's having Robert Pattinson after the run he had from like 2014, 15, doing those smaller films, getting back to Tenet. And you know what I thought about the other day? You know what was his audition for Batman? Remember that scene in Tenet where they scoped out the airport? Mm-hmm. And he was like looking around. I was like, that's so Bruce Wayne. Like he's got that Bruce Wayne feel. And I was like, yeah, that's a win. And
you guys haven't been paying the Pattinson since Twilight.
Yeah.
You need to catch up because the dude is phenomenal.
Oh, he's such a talented actor. He's so like adaptive to what he's doing. Like his character, like in Lost City of Z, is completely different than his character in Tenet, which is completely different than his character in Good Time. So if you're to watch a Pattinson movie, if I'm to give a film recommendation, which we've been trying to do more, so the Safdie brothers, it's 2017 maybe, and there's these fast-paced filmmakers, I'll like to call it, named the Safdie brothers, and they make this movie with A24, funny enough, called Good Time. And you want to talk about claustrophobia and like just this fast-paced, nonstop, just adrenaline rush? Like that's what you get from that movie. And Pattinson keeps up with them. That's what he's best at. He just adapts to it. He's like this kind of like gross guy with a heart of gold. Like he's this person that you know is not a good person. Like he's like with a younger girl in the movie, and like he sets his mentally challenged brother up to, be a criminal almost, and his mentally disabled brother, and he's not a good person. But Pattinson, you're just believing him the whole time that he's this scummy human being that only cares about himself and how to get forward. So that's my film recommendation, Good Time. I think it's on Netflix. Go watch that. If you want a little bit of Pattinson before the movie, just don't watch Twilight. Just why would you do that?
You get it out of your head.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
No, it's not. It's not his fault. Leave Robert Pattinson alone.
Yeah. Just like we're leaving Andrew Garfield alone.
Leave the tall, handsome guys with good hair alone.
Yeah. Yeah. You know who doesn't have any hair? Vin Diesel in the Fast and Furious movies. You thought I was going to go an episode without it. Found a way.
Yeah. All right. So on that note, we're going to head out of here. I'm going to head out.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to head out.
But before I head out, I want to plug some stuff. So you can follow us on Twitter at ProjectINF_pod. That's on Twitter. You can shoot us an email that I try to check as often as I can, but sometimes I forget about it. So
what are some of the emails we've been getting?
I got a couple. So I got one we talked about a couple weeks ago about the Shang-Chi Disney thing. We talked about that. There was one about... It was way back like in the Ensemble Cast one, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, so projectinfinitepod@gmail.com if you want to email us, and I promise I will try to be more active in reading the emails. I just forget about it from time to time. Follow us on Facebook, Project Infinite Podcast. You can just Google us, Facebook us, whatever, and you can find us on there. Follow that page for updates on what we're doing, and we throw out some questions on occasion. We have an Instagram.
Yeah, the Project Infinite Pod.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
And then what else? Next week, Venom preview.
Oh, man.
Yes.
You know what my fear is?
What?
This whole episode's been kind of like, yeah, my fear is bats, but before bats, I have a fear that I'm going to like this movie because I only have seen this movie twice. I haven't seen this, and it was like when it first came out, and then I watched it like a week later, and that was 4 years ago almost. So I have a fear that I'm going to watch this movie again, and I'm actually going to kind of like it.
You're gonna.
And it's going to upend every belief that I've ever had in my life.
Because I really like the first one, and I'm going to go deep into that next week, because we're going to preview Venom, which is going to involve a kind of recap of the first Venom movie leading up to Venom 2 Carnage in this one.
Yeah, they should have named that. That should have been the name of the film. Would have been way funnier.
Surprise, Carnage is in this one.
And he's Woody Harrelson. That's a great tagline. Surprise, Carnage is in this one, and it's Woody Harrelson. But
and another Wig 3.0 for Woody Harrelson.
Oh my gosh! What's wrong with his non-hair? Like, can he just be bald? Is that a crime?
Have the red hair.
True.
Give him the red hair.
He should have just had like 3 red hairs on his head. Would have been way funnier.
Ah, man. The Lucius Fox of the podcast.
Yes, that's a good one. Yes. Am I Lucius Fox from Batwoman, or am I Lucius Fox from the Nolan movies?
No, you're the Nolan Lucius Fox.
Oh, okay. I'll
He's
take
very
that.
calm, cool, collected, knows a lot about stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a moderate amount about moderate stuff, so.
Technology.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
You could hook a microphone up to a laptop.
Yeah.
Lucius Fox can probably do that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he made God's Eye, so I'm pretty sure he could do that.
Yeah. All right, guys. So next week, Venom preview. We're kind of booked for like the next couple of weeks, so
yeah,
we got some stuff on the pipeline.
Got Dune coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do a Dune preview. That's gonna be fun, and then we're gonna review Dune. Can't wait for that one.
We're gonna review What If at some point.
Yeah, we will.
When that's over.
Yeah. That's going to be a fun one, because it's going to probably be a What If review, but then it's just going to be me talking about Strange Supreme for like an hour, and then I'm going to take up all the time, and I'm not going to apologize for it. It was a great episode.
Yeah, so thank you, everybody. Again, every week we are eternally grateful.
Yeah. It's insane. Like, I've been different places, and people that I haven't talked to in a while have been texting me, like, good job. This is fun to listen to. I just like the fact that it's like, people go see these movies, and like people that don't really like necessarily love the fandom, they just go to watch movies with their friends, and like now they have a place where it's like, oh, we can get a deep dive into the movie we just watched a little bit,
and
a
I've
little
had
bit more
people
background.
say to me like, hey, I don't watch Superman and Lois, but I listened to your Superman and Lois show, and now I want to watch the show. And I'm like, that's the point. That's what I'm trying to do.
It's Cillian Murphy would be a great great Doctor Doom. Well, who else would be good in the Fantastic Four? That's what I want. I want more community and more, conversation and just building this fandom.
Yeah, and small tease, we got another logo coming.
Oh yeah,
at some point.
Yeah.
And it's, listen, you showed me it. I've seen it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's great. New logo alert.
New logo alert. That's coming eventually. Coming soon.
Yeah, coming soon to a theater near you, or a streaming service near you.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Next week, Venom.
Oh, God.
We are a Venom review podcast.
Jeez. Can I just watch the 90s Spider-Man cartoon Venom episodes instead of watching the Venom movie?
No.
Okay.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.